this is Jose from stampingdough.com, and today I just wanted to show you some tips on how I made this card here using the Beautiful Day stamp set. So I hope you can see that really well. I used the shimmery white cardstock again and my Memento ink pad. So let me just give you some tips on that. So the first thing I did is I inked this up with my Memento ink. When I have a big stamp like this, I generally use my ink to my stamp versus the other way around. Make sure it's really nice and inky. I find using a re-inker with this one is really nice to make sure that it's nice and inked up. So the first one that I did about here. Give it nice even pressure. And you've got that. Okay, so here is the tip. So we're going to do a masking technique. So I created this, or I stamped it on a Post-it note and then trimmed it out. And there's still a little bit of sticky on this side, so that's what I'm going to line up. So I want to line it up so that there's just a little bit of the black from underneath showing. And then just make sure that's down. We're going to ink that up one more time. And what the Post-it note is going to do is it's going to allow us to stamp this so that they don't overlap. So I'm just going to do this one about here. And you can see that the two show up pretty good and they're not overlapping, and this one is clearly behind this flower. So let's do our third one. And I'm going to put this one about here. Okay, so now I have my 3 flowers. Make sure that, see, I have some black on my fingers, so make sure that that is not wet when you're touching your paper, obviously. The other thing now that you want to also make sure is that the Memento ink is completely dry. It does take a little bit of time to dry, especially on a shimmery white cardstock where there's a little bit of kind of gloss to it. So either heat set or just wait a while until that is ready. Okay, so I took my heat tool to heat set that so it's nice and dry now. And obviously, beautiful flower to color. We could have used watercoloring, but I want to use my Stampin' Blends again. And then there is a really gorgeous butterfly. I was going to just show you the size of it. Look at how beautiful that is, and that would also be really nice to color. All right, so the colors that I used are Calypso Coral, Daffodil Delight, and Granny Apple Green. So I used the two, the light and the dark of each one, and created this kind of beautiful color variation. So to do that, I'm just going to show you a bit of how I did that coloring. So I used my actually smaller tip, just that way I had a little bit more control, and colored closest to where the line is. Just brought it down a bit. And then I used the light of that color next. Now I find when I'm coloring it, see how like there's definitely a line and it shows 2 different colors? It does take time to dry and to give you that beautiful blending that these blend markers do. Okay, so you can see it's already starting to look a little better. But as it dries, those two will kind of like melt into each other. All right, so let's go to the next color. I used my dark daffodil. And then I went and used my light one. All right, so right now it really does look like 4 independent colors. If you just kind of continue to do circles and blend them together, you'll find that it will start to look a lot nicer and just a little bit more blended. You can bring it down if you want. Okay, so you can see when it's wet, it does look like this, but as you work it and as you play with it and start to coloring more, you can see how those colors just blend so beautifully together. Okay, the other tip that I wanted to show you is I took the marker, and you can actually use it to kind of tap, and it gives you these little polka dots right on there. So if you want to add just kind of like a little bit more texture to your card, then you can do it that way as well. So I'm not going to show you the whole card. I just wanted to show you some quick tips on how to make this card. I actually added some of these beautiful little pearl embellishments at the end and matted it with Daffodil Delight and Calypso Coral cardstock and colored the leaf in Granny Apple Green. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you again soon.